Hello kids, today we will start with the geography part. It is climate. So children, think that it is cold and rainy day and you have to go out. So what kind of clothes will you wear? So what kind of clothes will you wear during the cold and rainy days? Yes, you will wear woolen clothes to keep you warm. Yes. So what kind of food or drink would you like to have? Yes, so you like to have spicy and hot food, right? And drinks? Yes, you like to drink coffee or tea during cold and rainy day. Okay, so think that it is very hot and humid day. So what would you like to do during the day? Yes, you like to play outside. Yes. So what kind of food or drink would you like to have? Yes, you like to have. Yes, you like to have what? Cold food means you like to have ice cream and cool drinks, right? Okay, so in today's class, we are going to learn about the difference between weather and climate and factors that determine climate and three heat zones of the earth. Let us see the difference between the weather and climate. So let us see what is weather. So, weather is the condition of the atmosphere at a particular place and time. So, for example, today might be cold and rainy day in your city, but tomorrow might be bright and sunny day. So, weather can change from day to date and even from hour to hour. So, weather is a condition of the atmosphere at a particular place and time. So, for example, today it might be cold and rainy day in your city, but tomorrow it might be bright and sunny day. So it may change from hour to hour. For example, morning it will be cold, but afternoon it will be hot and sunny. So, this is called weather. So, weather is a condition of the atmosphere at the particular place and time. So, weather can change from day to day and even from hour to hour. Let us see what is climate. So, climate on the other hand is the average weather condition of the place over a long period of time. So, weather is a condition of atmosphere, but here climate means it is average weather condition of place for long period of time. So, this climate will be there for over a long period of time. So the average weather condition, this weather condition will be there for long period. It is called as climate. So what do you mean by climate? The climate is an average weather condition. So when the weather condition is over a long period, it is called as climate. So when the weather is only for the few days or for a particular time or hour, this is called weather. Climate means the weather will be there for a long time, over a long period of time. So it is called as climate. For example, the climate in the Himalayan range is cold. So it is very cold during most months of the year. So in Himalayan range, it is very cold. It is most of the month it will be cold. So the climate in around Chennai is warm and humid. So whereas it is hot and dry in Thar desert. So these in Chennai and in Thar desert it is hot. For it will be be there for a long period of time. Even in Himalayan range it is cold. It is there for a long period of time. It is called as climate. So now we understood what is climate and weather and climate. So weather is a condition of atmosphere for a particular place and time. So only it will be there for the particular time or only for the particular place. So climate, the weather will be there for the long period of time. So it is called as climate. So climate is a average weather condition of a place over a long period of time. For example, in Himalayan range it is cold. So in most of the months it will be cold. So in the climate condition of this Chennai is warm and humid. But even in Thar desert it is very hot and dry. So now let us see about the factors which will affecting the climate. So the factors that determines the climate of a place are, it is distance from the equator, high above sea level, distance from the sea, winds, and the amount of moisture in the air. So these are the factors which will affect the climatic condition of the place. Different places in the world have different types of climatic condition. This climate of the place affect the people living in there in many ways. So the climate of the place will affect the people life. How they will affect? By the clothes they wear. It will, the clothes what they wear will depend on the climatic condition of the place. Even the food they eat also depend on the climatic condition of the place. Even the type of houses they live in are the affected by the climate. So these are the factors that determine the climate of the places. First, let us see distance from the equator. That is latitude, the distance from the equator. So Earth gets heated by the rays of the sun falling on it. So you can see here the Earth will get heated out by the rays of the sun falling on the Earth. So you can see in the diagram here. This shows that same amount of rays from the sun falling at different part of the earth surface. The same sun rays are falling to the different part of the earth surface. As you can see, the rays are direct or vertical at the equator and slanting at the poles. So you can see here, to the equator the sunlight are direct, and for the poles, for the north pole and the south pole, it is slanting rays. So sun rays are getting slant. So but for the equator it is getting direct sunlight. Hence, the places near the equator get heated more than the place near to the poles. So, when the sun rays gets directly to the equator, the places near the equator gets more sunlight, more heated. So, these places get more heated. But the poles near the places near the poles gets less sunlight. So also the sun rays have to travel a greater distance through air at the poles than the equator. So losing in the process a lot of its heat to the clouds. So water vapor and dust present in the air. So different part of the earth therefore receive the different amount of heat from the sun. So depending on the amount of heat receives, there are three climatic or heat zones on the earth. So depending on amount they receive the heat. So there are three climatic heat zones on the earth. Let's see the torrid zones. You can see here, this is a torrid zones, the area on both sides of equator. This is a equator, both sides on the equator between the tropic of Cancer and tropic of Capricorn. Between the tropic of Cancer and tropic of Capricorn, this is called a torrid zone. So what do you mean by torrid? So torrid means extremely hot. So these places get more heat from the sun, because the sunlight directly enters to these places, to the between the places like the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. So this is called a torrid zone, where the sunlight directly gets to these places, because it lies near the equator. These places lies near the equator. These zones receive maximum heat, so it is hot throughout the year. So in these places, the places it will receive more hot, and it is very hot throughout the year. Next is temperate zone. So you can see the green color here. This is north temperate zone and the south temperate zone. So the area that lies between the Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle in the northern hemisphere, and the Tropic of Capricorn and the Arctic Circle in the southern hemisphere are called temperate zone. So the area between the Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle in the northern hemisphere. So the area between the Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle. You can see a Arctic Circle and here the Tropic of Cancer. And the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle in southern hemisphere. It is called a temperate zone. So which are the temperate zone? The area between the Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle in north. This is north. So the area between the Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle, and the area between the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle in the southern hemisphere, these places are called a temperate zone. So these places have mild climate, neither very hot nor very cold. So it have the mild climate, because the sun rays will not fall directly to these places, but to this torrid zone the sunlight will get directly to these places, but these two places the sunlight will not fall directly. It is little slant. The sunlight is little slant. Sunlight will fall little slant to these temperate zone. So this region have mild climate. It is not very hot nor very cold. Next is frigid zone. So the area between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole. You can see here the area between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole in the northern hemisphere, the area between Antarctic Circle and the South Pole in the southern hemisphere, it is called as the frigid zone. So these zones receive very little heat from the sun. So as you can see in the picture, this place it is called as the frigid zone. Here you can see the sunlight received by these places is very little. So these places get only little sunlight. So this is place are called as a frigid zone. But to the equator, the sunlight gets directly more sunlights. So these places get more sunlight. So it is called as a torrid zone. It is heat zone. But frigid zone, the sunlight received by these places is very less. So you can see a sunlight gets very less to these places of the earth. So it is called as a frigid zone. So they are very cold and large parts are covered with snow throughout the year, because the sunlight received by this frigid zone is very less. So this is a frigid zone, the area between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole in the northern hemisphere, the area between Antarctic Circle and the South Pole in the southern hemisphere are called as frigid zone, and these places get very less sunlight. So these places is very cold and it is covered with snow throughout the year. The places coming in these places is receiving very less sunlight, so forever every year you can see the snowfall. So this is called as a frigid zone.